Hello friends, this is Kier. This is Kier and welcome back to Pleasant Lodge, Cybertown Station. We're doing just highway things. Just some of my favorite stuff about the highway. Now I will say that right now I'm not much of a driver since I sold my car a little while ago and kind of love not having to take care of one without much money. It is nice, but I do kind of miss driving on the highways, on the open roads as it were, and I think one part of that is like actually open roads. I don't like traffic, especially on highways when you feel like you can't get off, you can't go to the bathroom unless it's there. But an open highway on a midday autumn, maybe the windows are a little cracked, maybe they're not. What can you say? I live on the East Coast. Some of the highways out here, if it's not rush hour, it'll be very like open and nice, and it's just like a nice drive to have. I don't know, but gas costs money. Gas is weird. Fuel, the whole thing is weird. In a perfect world where like just enjoy driving and not have all these like moral conundrums about it, I don't know, when you find yourself there and you're like enjoying it, it's great. So I think one of my most favorite things is water towers that you see. So like if you live in a town and you have a water tower, like you know that water tower, but when you're on the highway, you kind of see these weird things out in the horizon and you're like, what's that? And they come in all different shapes and sizes. There's the ones with like the huge like ball on top. There's just like the normal tower. There's the ones with little cones on top that are hoisted up high into by scaffolding. It's a wild world. Water towers are super cool, and they're just mystical, which is kind of the same for like power line structures, the ones that are very like sculptural and almost look human looking with like the arms across the top. They're massive. If you've ever like stood at the foot of one, it's super sculptural, but it's like hella industrial. There's something a little bit imposing and looming about that, especially it's like electricity, like it could kill you, right? And it's so big, and it's like this god. There's also the idea of them placing these things over people's land, and there's just like a house, and then there's this huge thing. Like that's awful. It probably must be awful, and who knows if like the electricity that's going through there messes up anything. I don't know if there's any like EMFs related to that or something that could actually affect people. There might be. Not necessarily all a good thing, but I think just seeing them from a distance and like knowing all that is a very special, specific thing. Sort of along the same line, there's those fake tree things that what am I gonna say about those? Like, they're just so bad. Basically, it's supposed to look like a tree. I feel like there's a story about why they exist and I forget it, but I guess the lights on highways are kind of cool too. Kind of like those ones that hang over. I can't really mention East Coast highways without talking about trucks and trucker culture. I'm not a trucker, but I do appreciate that they're supporting things working, especially like goods and services being moved over large areas of land. Probably is not the best fun to have, just driving there without anybody around. Like, I don't know how it is. I'm sure some people like it. I'm sure some people don't. I'm sure it's not for everybody, just like every job is. But the logos that come along with trucks, shipping companies, that's mostly what I'm referring to here. At least around here, you see a lot of different companies' logos on trucks that aren't strictly just like the shipping containers. Like you might see someone hauling a Maersk container or a Dongfang container, or that pink one. What's that pink one? I forget. It's like one or something. Yang Ming classic logo that I first saw in a Kyra Foster ad for Element, I think. It's a really deep cut. But other companies like Kane is Able has a really good, on the back of their truck they have like the say, I forget it, but it's great. You're gonna see a lot of Wabash mud flaps around here. I saw a really good mud flap the other day. It was I think it was Trail King. That was good. Pitt, Ohio has great logos and great fonts going on. Ooh, Daybreak Express is good. I don't know. There's just a bunch of good logos out there that are on trucks. Also, truck way stations are pretty fun. There's a nice one by me. It has some little barn quilt flair on the side. Always kind of been enamored by that. And like if you go in the morning, you see a lot of trucks lined up there. Trucks get their gas at gas stations, and big gas station signs are pretty popular. They just get so giant and they go so high sometimes because you have to be able to see them from the highway so you can get off on the nearest exit, you know it's there. And I'm sure they're massive. I mean, you might see a lot of buildings on the highway, I suppose. And most of them aren't that interesting to me, besides just like architecture wise, you just see some cool stuff on roads anyway, but specifically on highways, I just notice a lot of brutalist architecture, corporate built, I guess. I don't know what they are most of the time. I mean, they're different things always, right? I don't know. They're just like the power thing, just like the electric line stand, whatever it's called. They're very ominous, right? And you imagine what's going on in there, and like the business or the money that's being made via these weird things that I could easily be probably working at. I'm probably not qualified to work at any of those, but if I worked my way up, I sure could try. End up in an office job in some brutalist built with a concrete slab of a life. I mean, again, there's some fear there that I look at that and experience, and it's just weird. I don't know. There's something fun about it though. I like when they look nice, but especially like when they just look, oh gosh, they look barren and scary. It's terrifying. I love it. Sometimes you'll get a part of the highway that kind of goes above stores and stuff, and you'll get to see the tops of the store. And I guess same thing with water towers. A lot of the I guess they're like HVAC stuff or cooling stuff, or I guess supermarkets have a lot of them on their roofs usually, but there's all these types of weird alien structures on roofs a lot of times. I just assume it's for like air conditioning. They just always look pretty cool, especially when a store has a lot of them. I don't know. Of course, on the actual road, you're gonna get like a lot of graffiti if you're near a city. Even if you're not, which I feel like is more interesting when you have the rural around here highway, and then there's just like one tag or like one throw up that's been there for like years and years and years, and sometimes really good. I saw Bong One the other day. I do also enjoy when there's kind of like the divide, not so much the dividers, because usually around here they keep them in check, but more so like the sides of things, and sometimes when there's like a loop where you have to turn around, or like just a loop to get on a different highway, you'll have these like sections where sometimes there's like ponds in them, sometimes there's massive grass stuff in there. Sometimes they let it get really overgrown, and it looks like there's definitely just this whole little ecosystem. I mean, it's probably not great if anything actually lives there, because then probably a lot of it gets run over by cars, but if it is indeed quaint, and that's okay to be stoked about, sometimes there's these like patches of land near highways that just like look like they're doing their own thing, at least botanically, at least plant-wise. They have this whole thing like going on, and it's like, did somebody plant that specific thing there? I think most of the time it's just weeds that travel through the air and plant themselves wherever they want, happen to end up there. I think it's fun to think about what if you could crawl around in there, what would you find? I think that's about it, honestly. I kind of like if I'm driving far away, I used to really like putting on the radio and just seeing what I could find, because I was used to all the radio stations in my own area, but if you travel far away, it's like you might tap into something weird. I know that, like, especially if it's a Sunday morning, you'll get some weird like religious stuff, and you can really get in the weeds. It's great. We love religion. Yeah, my last thing, at least in East Coast vibes, I always stay 3 lanes over from the divider. I love to go real slow, but not like way under. I like to go the speed limit. I don't want to get pulled over. And 3 lanes from the divider seems to be about right most times. I don't know. Hashtag just highway things. That's fun. Thank you to our patrons, Aurora, Son, and Adam. I don't know why I'm still on YouTube doing this. If you like this show, let me know. Wow, it rhymed. Go to patreon.com/SpecialDebega. And maybe buy a shirt at redbubble.com/people/SpecialDebega. Smash dislike. Be the best version of yourself that you can be at this time. Crush the game. Please. So thanks for watching. I hope you have a good time with the rest of your time. Bye.
Came from Special Rutabaga, have a nice day.